So all of this started in the middle of the pandemic. I think the pandemic was very productive for some people. All that quiet time and lockdown gave you time to think. And I guess it has also been a culmination of my lifelong journey in education. I studied undergrad and postgrad in education, and I knew I wanted to do something related to that. I also studied values in education. So I was very interested in curriculum and materials to teach children values, but in a very inspiring and subtle way, and not in a didactic way like you do, that you learn moral. We used to learn moral science in school before. So that was something that was on the back of my mind. I wasn't sure where my journey would take me in education. I just knew I wanted to be in education and make some difference in that field, and more specifically value education. And I always had this love for picture books, when I was young, of course, but even when I grew older and I went to university in Boston and London, I would always find myself in bookstores, just browsing, and in the children's section. Even as an adult, I would be in the children's picture book section looking for these books which were really
the heart was still young.
So something about them always attracted me. And even though I didn't have children, obviously, at that time at university, I would always buy these books and keep them. And I have a library of beautiful picture books. And I would always wonder why we don't have this quality of books for children in India. It has definitely improved over the years, and there's a lot more choices available now. And I'm so grateful for that. So I'm just happy to be able to make contribute to that industry and create things for children that will showcase them their culture. Because a lot of my generation grew up reading books by Western authors. We grew up on like Enid Blyton and books like that. All the Western stories, Hansel and Gretel, Cinderella, Snow White. So I always wanted that we should have picture books that would showcase our culture and bring that alive for children in a beautiful manner, where it's well told, the story. It's not didactic. The illustrations are very uplifting, and the quality of the print is also something that you want to hold, not like a cheap production. It should be, the child should want to hold it, remember it when they grow up, that this is something that was a cherished book in my childhood. So that was the motivation. And actually, I also live outside of India, and I have two small children. So when I feel that when you're raising children outside of your native country, you feel more like you miss the culture, and you go out searching. You go searching for materials की जिससे हम अपने बच्चों को connect कर सकें.
You just try searching for that connection, for something which connects them to that originality. और क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीजें हम किसी के पास ले जाएं या कुछ उनको try करें कि उससे connect हो, but एक originality, एक sense of like there's something real in that. It gets even more better.
Because when you live in your own country, you take it for granted sometimes कि ये तो है ही है, दिवाली तो celebrate हो ही रही है, तो बच्चे को पता ही है क्या होना है. But when you go outside your country, you feel like miss हो रहा है कुछ. हम शायद वो पूरी धूमधाम बच्चा नहीं देख रहा है जो अपनी कंट्री में दिखता. वो पूरी एक्सटेंडेड फैमिली नहीं है उसके पास, नानी दादी नहीं है उसके पास बताने के लिए कहानियां कि क्या क्या होता है, उसका क्या ओरिजिन है, हम जो घर में जो रिचुअल्स कर रहे हैं उस कहाँ से आए. तो वो सारी चीजों को आप प्लग इन करने के लिए, वो गैप्स को यू ट्राई टू फाइंड मटेरियल्स, and you do that scaffolding of your child's learning with these materials. So, and I feel कि even when you are in your own country, I think people have become parents have become very conscious कि हमको अपने बच्चों को इसके बारे में एक कल्चर लूज नहीं हो जाए. क्योंकि even I think जो इंडिया में भी रह रहे हैं, वो भी कई बारी अब जॉइंट फैमिलीज में नहीं रह रहे हैं. कई लोग अपने जॉब्स के लिए दूसरे शहरों में रह रहे हैं. So they also feel, I feel that we want that this should not get lost in the next generations, जो हमारी stories हैं और हमारा culture है.
But still, the parents are concerned कि इंडिया में रहेंगे तो there are some rituals, some superstitions which are connected to, like which are not real, but they're connected to religion. तो उससे they will learn something which has not to be learned, और बाद में it will create problems in their future. इसलिए वो बाहर चले जाते हैं. So now, like, what's your take on that?
No, I don't think people are leaving because of culture or tradition. In fact, I mean, they may be looking for a better quality of life or for a job or something, but they want to stay rooted. You don't have to take everything that is in your past and say कि 100% हमको. You can take things that, you know, कोई चीजें होती हैं कल्चर की जो उस समय के लिए सही होती हैं, और चीजें जो उसका जो एसेंस होता है, जो उसका तत्व होता है, वो इटर्नल होता है. सो अगर आप वो रिचुअल्स में रह जाओ या सुपरस्टिशंस में रह जाओ तो आपको लगेगा ये सारी चीजें बेकार है, हमको इससे भागना है. लेकिन अगर आप उसके एसेंस में जा पाओ और बच्चों को वो कम्युनिकेट कर पाओ तो वो आपकी हमेशा के लिए वो चीज मीनिंगफुल रहेगी. सो वी शुड ट्राई टू फाइंड दैट तत्व ऑफ आवर कल्चर, of our Sanskriti, and find ways to communicate that to the next generation, because the kids are very smart also. They are getting even smarter and smarter with every generation.
I see that.
And they will question you, they will be critical, they will ask, and you cannot say, ye mat sawal pucho. No, they have the right to ask every question and any question, and you have to be able to have the depth of knowledge to answer them. Otherwise, they are not going to accept it. So you have to do your own research, have your own knowledge, and don't let it all just disappear because you're all so busy in the modern life that people.
And as you say that, wo questions puchte hain but they don't answer. But like I have a boon that I got such mentors ki abhi at this age they tell me ki jo puchna hai puch, and you ask as much things as you could. So but I see ki like the curiosity. So like children are very intellectual, they're more than us. तो जब भी वो क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, they are very like unrealistic, they're surreal कि यार ये कैसे he's asking, और हम आंसर नहीं देते. So somewhere do you think that depreciation happens in the behavior of a child जब हम उसको मना कर रहे हैं कोई आंसर देने के लिए?
Absolutely, that is totally against all understanding of pedagogy. If you are going to tell a child कि सवाल ही मत पूछो, मतलब दिमाग ही नहीं इस्तेमाल करो, तो and just accept it on the basis of authority. So that is something that is not going to really make a mark on his consciousness. वो उसको मान लेगा, कर भी लेगा, but वो उसको believe नहीं करेगा, समझेगा नहीं, उसको मन से नहीं करेगा. It's definitely not going to make an meaningful impact on his soul. ऊपरी वो कर लेगा. So, and then definitely that knowledge is not going to get transmitted to the next generation, because his child will ask him, ये क्यों कर रहे हैं हम? And they'll be like, I don't know, forget about it, I guess. Nobody explained it to me. तो आप
मैं तो कैसे ही बताऊं?
So it's very, very important to let them ask questions and to be able to answer them to the best of your ability. And if you don't know the answer, say let's search for it together. Knowledge has become so easy आजकल कि सबके फिंगर टिप्स पे है. आप गूगल कर सकते हो, आप सर्च करो. पहले जमाने में तो लोग कितनी मेहनत करते थे किसी चीज की आंसर के लिए. आप लाइब्रेरी जाओ, किताबें ढूंढो और उसका एक्सपर्ट ढूंढना. अब तो हर चीज हमारे फिंगर टिप्स पे है. इट इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल कि आप बच्चे को आंसर ना दो. दैट इज आवर ओन फॉल्ट, और हमारी खुद की कमी है वो कि हम बच्चे को अगर आंसर नहीं दे रहे. हम बहुत बिजी हैं अपने खुद की लाइफ में कि हम उसके लिए उसको इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं दे रहे उस सवाल को और उस चीज को कि हम उसके लिए कि थोड़ा सा टाइम निकाल के आंसर ढूंढ लें. नहीं भी पता है तो ढूंढ लें.
बिल्कुल. It would add up in our knowledge, in our wisdom कि हाँ उसने ऐसा कुछ पूछा जो मैं नहीं पूछ पाया आज तक.
Absolutely. And kids very young are asking. My 4-year-old son, I sing the Gayatri mantra to him at night. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, and then he'll say, Mummy, what is prachodayat? Now every word meaning I don't remember, so I have to immediately Google and say कि इस word का ये. I know the general meaning of the Gayatri mantra, but word for word he wants me to. He asks me ये वाले word का क्या मतलब है और ये वाले word का क्या मतलब है. These are the types of things that we are trying to bring out for children in books also, because parents को भी नहीं पता. As a parent also, I want my child to know Gayatri mantra, and he is right to ask me the question कि इसका मतलब क्या है. And parent can look it up. So I can look up Google and say कि इसका मतलब प्रचोदयात का ये है. But tomorrow he'll forget again, and I will also forget again. So if I have a book which has a picture and it has a text that the child can hold every night and see, and it is written and illustrated for his age level, वो हर रोज रात को उसको देखेगा, because अब छोटे बच्चों के लिए हर चीज ऑनलाइन नहीं कर सकते आप. छोटे बच्चों को किताबें चाहिए हाथ में पकड़ने के लिए, ऐसी चीजें चाहिए जो वो खुद हाथ में पकड़ सकते हैं, उसको फील कर सकते हैं, उसको देख सकते हैं, तब वो उसका रोज
एक इमोशन जुड़ जाता है when you're having a book. क्योंकि हम जितने भी बड़े हो जाए, बुक से जो इमोशन किसी ह्यूमन का रहता है वो लाइक इट्स लाइक वो किसी और चीज से नहीं रह सकता. उसकी जो स्मेल होती है, इट इज आल्सो नॉस्टैल्जिक. और जब हम उसको खोलते हैं एंड व्हेन वी कंसाइज दैट कि हाँ वी आर गोइंग थ्रू इट, हमें लगता है कि हम भी एक बुक का पार्ट ही है. एंड इट मेक्स इट सो इमेजिनेटिव, इट मेक्स इट सो एक्साइटिंग कि लाइक पीपल लव रीडिंग. और जब बच्चों को हम किताबें देते हैं तो वो तो छेड़ने भी नहीं देते कि नो डोंट टच आवर बुक्स, इट आर्स.
अब इसी थॉट के साथ हमने ये वाली किताब बनाई थी, माय फर्स्ट हनुमान चालीसा. सो क्या हुआ कि मेरे को लगा कि हम बचपन से हमने हनुमान चालीसा तो सीखी थी, और जब कभी डर लगता था तो मम्मी पापा बोलते हैं कि हनुमान चालीसा के कुछ वर्सेस गा लो. तो जब डर लग रहा है, जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, ऑटोमेटिकली कई फैमिली में ऐसे होता है कि आपको डर लग रहा है, अच्छा आप हनुमान जी को याद कर लो. लेकिन जब मैं बड़ी हुई तो मेरे को लगा कि ये मेरे को पता तो है, मतलब वर्सेस याद है मोस्ट ऑफ इट, लेकिन इसका मतलब क्या है. हम लोग फिर शादी हुई, हम एक इन अ फैमिली जो हनुमान को फॉलो करते हैं. हम राजस्थान से हैं, तो वहाँ सालासर जी हम हर साल जाते थे, वहाँ पे हनुमान के टेम्पल में. वहां जा रहे हैं हम, तो फिर वहां पे खड़े होके मंदिर में वर्ड्स गाते हैं. फिर मेरे को लगा कि मोटा मोटी तो मेरे को पता है, बट एग्जैक्ट वर्ड्स का मीनिंग नहीं पता है. सो देन लेटर ऑन व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड टीचिंग, मेरे छोटे बच्चे हैं तो उनको जब मैंने सिखाना शुरू किया हनुमान चालीसा, ऐसा था कि मेरे को भी जब हर वर्ड का मीनिंग नहीं पता तो मैं उनको कैसे सिखाऊंगी.
एग्जैक्टली.
तो फिर मेरे को लगा ऐसी बुक्स होनी चाहिए जिससे बच्चा एक एक वर्ड का मीनिंग अपने आप उसको पता चले. तो जैसे हमने ये बनाया है, जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय. सो यहाँ पे हमने वर्ड्स भी डाला है कि माँ उसको पढ़ सके, और वर्ड्स को, जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर को हमने इंग्लिश में भी लिखा है कि अगर कोई इंडिया से बाहर रहते हैं, उनको ये पढ़ना नहीं आता है, तो वो ये पढ़ सकते हैं. और फिर ये हमने जो किया यहाँ पे, ये ट्रांसलेशन है जो बच्चा खुद पढ़ सकता है. 4-5 साल का बच्चा, ग्रेड 1 और 2 लेवल का, हमने एक एक सेंटेंस को चेक किया है कि ये ग्रेड 1 और 2 लेवल पे है.
एंड इट्स सो ब्यूटीफुल कि कोई बच्चा इसको रख ही नहीं पाएगा एक बार पकड़ने के बाद.
और हर वर्ड का
मीनिंग, द फॉन्ट एंड एवरीथिंग.
जय का मतलब विक्ट्री है, सागर का मतलब ओशन है, ज्ञान का मतलब नॉलेज है. तो आप एक बार ही जाइए, आप बस वर्ड मीन एक बार ही जाइए, आप बस ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ लीजिए. और तो इसमें बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसे हैं कि आप, ये जैसे अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा, तो आप अंजनी, यू आर द सन ऑफ अंजनी एंड योर फादर इज द विंड गॉड. सो लाइक दिस कि बच्चों को ये
illustrated, it's like it's very beautiful. और जब वो देखेगा, वो उसके कैरेक्टर्स के साथ उसको समझेगा, तो उसके लिए इजी भी हो जाएगा और याद भी रहेगा.
कि वो एक बार में उसके विजुअल लर्निंग से वो दिमाग में एकदम घुस जाएगा कि पवन सुत मतलब विंड गॉड, वो उसको दिख रहा है, वो ब्लो कर रहा है गॉड, एंड अंजनी कौन थी, तो वो उसके दिमाग में एकदम घुस जाएगा. सो दिस इज समथिंग वी वांट टू डू विद आवर बुक्स. वी वांट टू ब्रिंग आउट दीज थिंग्स कि वो एकदम उसके लिए रियल बन जाए.
And you have diversified it because you are like researching on eclectic traditions. You have taken up Nanak, you have taken up Mahavir, Buddha. So itna sab kuch, like how do you research? Or the second thing, like how do you have made it so diversified?
I mean, our culture is diversified. In India, we are so blessed to be born in a country jahan there is a rich heritage available to us. Growing up, we see in our classrooms, we have friends. Some friends are Jain who are vegetarian. There's some Sikh friends who wear the kada. We are surrounded with a very rich cultural heritage. So we must make sure our children know the essence of all this heritage. So जब मैं कॉलेज से आई थी पढ़ के, तो आई हैड द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू डू सम वर्कशॉप्स फॉर टीचर एजुकेशन के जो बीएड कोर्सेज होते हैं. तो उनके लिए अलोंग विद इंडियन काउंसिल ऑफ फिलोसॉफिकल रिसर्च के साथ हम लोग ये वर्कशॉप करते थे ऑन एम ऑफ लाइफ. कि अगर टीचर्स को ये सारी वैल्यूज और कल्चर्स के बारे में नहीं पता होगा तो वो बच्चों को कैसे इंस्पायर कर पाएंगी। तो उनको हमें एक प्रेजेंटेशन बनाया था हमने उस टाइम पे कि अलग अलग जो सेंट्स आए हैं और जो फिलोसोफर्स आए हैं उन्होंने जीवन के महत्व के बारे में क्या बोला है। सो नॉट जस्ट इंडियन, उसमें वेस्टर्न भी थे। लियोनार्डो डा विंची ने क्या बोला है, आइंस्टाइन ने क्या बोला है, बुद्धा ने क्या बोला है, सूफीज ने क्या बोला है। सो उसका बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल प्रेजेंटेशन था। सो आई हैड डन सम रिसर्च पहले भी इस टॉपिक पे, एंड सो आई फेल्ट इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि कई बार क्या होता है स्कूल में जो पढ़ाते हैं टेक्स्ट बुक्स में लिखा होता है कि बुद्धा एक प्रिंस थे और वो यहाँ पैदा हुए, इस साल में पैदा हुए, और फिर उनको उन्होंने कुछ देखा, कोई ओल्ड और सफरिंग लोगों को देखा और उनको फिर वो चले गए रिसर्च करने के लिए, अपना मेडिटेशन करने के लिए कि सफरिंग क्यों है। उसके बाद हम कुछ नहीं बताते बच्चों को, उसके बाद नहीं बताते कि उनको अपना मेडिटेशन में क्या क्या जवाब मिला, क्या क्या रहस्य उनको मिला, वो सब नहीं बताते। वो सब बोलो बस ऊपरी बता देते हैं कि बस हो गया, अब प्रिंस थे और वो चले गए और वो बुद्धा है, अब उनसे यू जस्ट प्रे टू देम। We don't say कि why you should pray to them, why is he so great, what did he find. So that is how this book came around. I will show you कि बुद्धा ने जो बताया कि सफरिंग कम्स फ्रॉम डिजायर। नाउ कई लोग ने बोला कि ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, सॉरी आई एम टेकन द रॉन्ग बुक, सेकंड। So Buddha said that suffering comes from desire, and desire, so suffering comes from desire, but and then that is the root of suffering. And बच्चे को ये कैसे समझाओ, उसको तो बच्चे का क्या डिजायर होता है, मेनली खिलौने होते हैं। हाँ। तो आप बताओ कि देखो, आप जब आप कोई खिलौना चाहते हो शॉप से तो आपका सफरिंग शुरू हो जाता है कि कब मिलेगा, मम्मी दिला दो, क्यों नहीं दिला रही हो, अभी दिला दो, कब दिलाओगी। तो यू स्टार्ट सफरिंग, और जब खिलौना मिल भी जाता है तो कई बार टूट जाता है, ऑल्सो देयर इज सफरिंग। और कई बारी खिलौना मिल भी जाता है तो फिर आपको लगता है कि हमको दूसरा चाहिए, एक यहाँ मिल गया दूसरा चाहिए। सो दिस सफरिंग कीप्स कंटिन्यूइंग, and we're not saying कि don't have desire, because even adults have desire, but we're just introducing कि बुद्धा ने बोला कि ये just understand कि desire is the cause of suffering and you can find peace within. So how to simplify and present to children these very difficult concepts but in a simple manner, just put that idea, उस idea का बीज आप बस डाल दो,
और वो भी in the form of illustrations, इतना कलरफुल होता है तो it keeps them like connected to that book. वो पढ़ते रहेंगे। एक कुछ बुक्स होती है बहुत बोरिंग होती है, बच्चों के लिए बनाई होती है, तब भी बच्चों को नहीं पढ़नी होती, because it's not very colorful, उसके अंदर जो होना चाहिए वो नहीं होता। बट when you like text कम है इसके अंदर और जो illustrations है वो ही इतनी deep है कि it can like teach up the toddlers or for the young students.
Picture books में illustrations play a very major part, and illustration, सही illustrator ढूंढना उस book के लिए is crucial to making a successful picture book.
I can totally understand that.
It can make or break. You can have a very beautiful text and that very ugly illustrations will just kill it. Or if you have, they have to have a right mix. बहुत सुंदर illustrations हैं लेकिन text में कोई दम नहीं है तो भी नहीं चलेगा. They have to be a very good match together. So I think we did fine. We were lucky to find very talented illustrators. This illustrator is Debasmita Das Gupta. She's an award-winning illustrator who's done these 3 books for us: Kindness with Mahavira, Peace with Buddha, and Service with Guru Nanak. And she's a very, very experienced illustrator, and she's managed to capture all these subtle things very beautifully in these books.
And like from all the leaders or the philosophers you have written book on, who is the one who you personally find very like electrifying?
There's so many. We have books, of course, on Buddha, Mahavir, and Guru Nanak. And we've also started books on, we've started doing biographies also. I don't know if you've seen these books.
Yeah. What about that?
We felt that we have so many people in our South Asian, history. who have done so many important things that our children need to have role models that can inspire them. So they don't need to necessarily we don't always need to only talk about religious things. We need biographies of scientists, sports people, inspire these children to do something in this world, find out what they're meant to do in life. So we have Janaki Amal, the first woman botanist from India. We have Anandibai Joshi, one of the first women doctors from India. Aditi Pant was the first oceanographer from India. And Bibha Chaudhary, the first physicist from India. There's a star named after her and a planet as well. It's these women are so inspiring because they were pioneers in their field. In such a long time ago, जब women को तो पढ़ाई करने नहीं देते थे, school ही नहीं जाने देते थे, so they fought and said कि नहीं हम school जाएंगे. And not just did they go to school, they went to study abroad for their masters. They became Janaki Amal was not only the first woman botanist, first Indian woman in the Royal Horticultural Society of London, UK. She was the first woman, not the first Indian woman, not the first Asian woman. She was the first woman in that society, Royal Horticultural Society in UK. Imagine कि आपको या इसकी the village she was born in, girls were not even allowed to go to school, and she achieved such a big feat. They are all very, very inspiring.
So in a capsule, you want to encapsulate ki the inner success is as important as outer success.
Absolutely, and you need to have you need a holistic development for children.
You need to keep that balance ki yahan andar se bhi we have that richness aur bahar se bhi we are trying to motivate people, we are trying to हमने खुद तो कर लिया but दूसरों को भी we are trying to bring them up.
Absolutely. For children, we cannot say कि जैसे पहले जमाने में schools बस mental development पे focus करती थी कि हमको बस रीडिंग, राइटिंग और मैथ्स बच्चे को पढ़ाना है कि बेसिक लिटरेसी होनी चाहिए. फिर उसके बाद लोगों को रियलाइज हुआ कि नहीं, हमको बस मेंटल एजुकेशन नहीं, हमको थोड़ा इमोशनल सोशल एजुकेशन भी चाहिए. बच्चों को अपने पीयर से बात करना और लोगों से बात करना, अपने इमोशंस के बारे में समझना, ये सब भी जरूरी चीजें हैं. फिर रियलाइज हुआ कि नहीं, हमको फिजिकल एजुकेशन भी करना जरूरी है. वी डोंट नीड जस्ट बाबू कल्चर जैसे ब्रिटिश के टाइम पे अब था कि बस वी नीड दिस वर्क फोर्स that it doesn't matter how healthy or unhealthy they are, we just need them to be literate. But now we realize we need a generation of people who are not just working but also fit. And now so schools are responsible for that as well. But I think now we have to go one more step and say, what about their inner life? We have to enrich their inner life as well and find that connection to their inner being, which is going to give them that feeling of wholeness. So ये भी एक schools का part बन गया है. और picture books जहाँ तक आती हैं, they are outside of school, they can give that sense of connection and wholeness to the child as well. आप school की library में हो, because these are not textbooks, these are something you read for leisure. आपको school की library में भी मिल सकता है, आपके घर में भी हो सकता है from your personal reading. But they play a very important role in your full development.
So after these spiritual leaders and scientists and talking about all those successful women, what's coming up next? Are you thinking to develop some other illustration books on other philosophers or other saints and scientists or entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. So the next set that is actually coming out in 2 days is I'm going to get the stock is Women in Sports. So there's another box set like this, and there's going to be 4 books inside it. And there's very interesting people that we have covered. We have Chandru and Prakashi Tomar, the grannies who became sharpshooters and won lots of medals. And they, for the first time in their lives, they picked up a gun at 80, and they became award-winning, medal-winning sharpshooters. There is an young open water swimmer who swam in all the oceans called Bhakti Sharma. There is an athlete who everybody knows, P.T. Usha. Yeah. And so this box set is coming out in 2 days' time, and it's going to be available on Amazon and on our website very soon.
Excited for that. I'm gonna jump on these books and the box sets. So back to that question. out of these bunches of books and like these box sets, who is that one person who inspires you the most from the bunch of all these people?
I would have to say Buddha. I think he's very interesting what he talks about desire and suffering. And
when we
it's
say
not
that a spiritual person is interesting, that makes it more interesting.
yes, because he's not very well understood. A lot of people think that Buddha was an atheist, but I don't believe that is true. I think Buddhism has many layers, and people need to understand it better. That's very interesting for me.
But जब भी we are reading these people, तब हमें at the end ये पता चलता है कि at the end सब एक ही चीज की बात करते हैं.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. Like it's like flipping up the coin. ऊपर भी वही है, नीचे भी वही है, but like the like diversified notions and the words, thoughts अलग हैं, but उसका root एक ही है.
Absolutely. All are talking about being kind and serving humanity and finding inner peace and finding your inner self.
Yeah.
So definitely you're right about that.
And like we can say that you are a very bookish person. You read books.
Yes.
So if you would like to suggest some of your favorite books, what would they be?
I love to read like young adult fiction. Harry Potter is all-time favorite. And, what else? I enjoyed Salman Rushdie's children's novel, Haroon and the Sea of Stories.
Okay.
Currently, after 2 decades, I think I'm reading Dan Brown's Origin, and I'm enjoying that a lot. So very diverse. I'm reading a few non-fiction books as well. I'm reading Atomic Habits. So
James Clear, like I love that book. And you see movies?
Oh yes.
So
I see a lot
suggestions.
Suggestions of movies. I think Indian cinema is becoming very interesting, and they're making a lot of these really important movies which are on social topics, but very well done, like in a comic way. I love movies by Ayushmann Khurrana. I think he's amazing. All his movies, highly recommend.
And any specific movie?
What is the name? Badhai Ho? No, was it the one?
I heard about that.
Yeah. I think all. I don't remember the name.
So like back jumping into that education sector, like what do I personally believe कि जो youngsters हैं या जो students हैं आज के, they are the people who are like sowing up the seed of the future. आज जो वो करेंगे, it will imply in the future. जो भी होने वाला है, it's gonna be because of them. तो आज हम जैसे उनको educate करते हैं, it's gonna create the next coming years of this nation, of this whole world. So how can you connect that culture or mythology or our traditions to education?
You need to bring it alive and connect it to education. I mean, this is it's you cannot raise a generation of children that don't know about their culture, because it will leave them incomplete. They will always feel that hollowness ki something is missing. Yeah. So we have to find ways in which we can pass on this information, knowledge, wisdom of our culture. I mean, whether it's through schools or it's through, books, like, if you feel, because sometimes in school you can't do you can't, do too many religious books, but it has to be introduced to them somehow. And so that is where books by companies like ours can fit in and fill that gap. Because everything also schools cannot do. They have too many.
When you're talking about something like mythology, it has very preconceptions. जब कोई सुनता है तो they have the Puranas, that gods are flying in the air and that all. But what do I think? इनके पीछे एक बहुत ही deep rooted metaphors होते हैं, which are trying to tell us something in some sort of fiction. जो reality में exist करता है, but they have their own stories to make it interesting, to make it like catchy. So do you think that there are metaphors which are more important in something like mythology?
Definitely, I think interpretation of these things is very, very important. It can be very superficial sometimes to just, all of our texts have many layers. So you can see it from the very superficial layer, or you can see the symbolic layer. You can get caught up in the things that are not relevant and people can't connect to anymore, that were useful for that time, or you can go into the deeper meanings. So it's very critical for us to figure out ways in which to bring out the essence of those stories so that the children are not left without them. If we keep on harping and on about things that are not relevant to this time, and कि हम वो उन चीजों में अटक जाएंगे तो जो मतलब की चीज है वो भी रह जाएगी. And that is what happens very often. I feel that people are so stuck कि नहीं, you have to believe all of it or none of it. They are not able to bring out the essence and say कि ये तो जरूरी है, let's focus on this. And I think that's what we are trying to do, is try to bring out.
I do perfectly believe कि हर religion का एक there's a part of a religion जो आपको करना है वो follow करो, because everything is trying to teach us something good. सबके positive, सबके pros and cons होते हैं, तो just take up that pros from every of those sects and try to follow them. We don't need to think about what's negative about them, because हर चीज में अगर we have a human mindset, तो बुराई देखने जाएंगे तो वो देखते ही रहेंगे. But at the other side, we have a lot of like enlightening stuff जो हम ले सकते हैं and we can implement. And now, like, there are a lot of student writers, student readers who are coming up with their books and like other philosophical stuff. So, like, something you can suggest them which can increment their writing skills or their journey forward.
Just believe in yourself and continue writing. Don't think I'm not good enough and how will I publish this? What will happen? Don't think.
You need to think about the publishing. You are there.
And that's the great thing about the social media. It's not big, it's removed that barrier, which was like, how will I approach a publisher? Who do I contact? I get messages on Instagram saying, I want to submit a manuscript. How can I go about it? And I think it's become so good that even for us, we don't really need to have big names. We want good quality text. If your writing is good, and we are very happy, even if you've never published anything before, even if you're a student. I hire so many, I intern a lot of art students who are in university, and they just write to me, we'd like to intern. I'm like, yes, if you're good, why not? I don't, so barriers have been broken with social media. Go and approach publishing houses that you like the quality of their books of, and just go ahead and send them a message on social media also. You don't have to construct this formal thing. If you're talented, you will find the right avenue.